Welcome back to the VBAC podcast. Last time I shared a question with you that was from a listener, and we're going to do that again because I had another question, and it's not specifically VBAC related. It is birth related, but a lot of you are probably asking similar questions. And that is, what positions are best to be in for an unmedicated birth? Or even if you're not having an unmedicated birth, you still probably want to know what positions to be laboring in until you decide to get your epidural, or wondering if your positions are limited if you get an epidural. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today. I'm not going to go too deep into it because I could talk to you for 4 hours about this. Yeah, I could. But we are going to talk about some of the most recommended positions for an unmedicated labor. I hope you are excited to dive in with me. Welcome to the VBAC podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Zaki, and I am a licensed practical nurse, international board certified lactation consultant, and birth doula. I'm also a mama to 4 little bears and a 3-time VBAC mama. My mission is to help you cultivate confidence for a positive and peaceful VBAC. This is a disclaimer that any of the information, experiences, opinions, and stories told on this podcast are with the intent. Real quick before we get started, I wanted to remind you that if you do have a question about VBAC or vaginal birth, or heck, breastfeeding, whatever, that you want to ask me, that you are looking for an answer to, you haven't found an answer, you need a little bit of guidance, reach out. I can answer you directly. I'm not going to make you wait for a podcast episode to come out, but if it's a popular question, I'll probably make a podcast episode about it. So reach out to me if you have any questions that you want to hear featured on the podcast or just see addressed. You can reach out to me at littlebearlactation.com/podcast or littlebearlactation.com/links. And let's dive into what positions are most recommended for an unmedicated birth. So this is always kind of a tricky question because obviously there are so many different positions that you can be in to labor and give birth. There are so many different situations where one position might be better than another. And there's go based off of your comfort, and there's so many things to consider. Inside of VBAC with Confidence, I do dive into this a little more than I'm going to today, but I want to talk about some of the important stuff to think about when you're thinking about laboring positions. First of all, I want you to listen to your body. Listen to your body. Listen to your body. I have talked till I'm blue in the face about how important it is and can be to be upright during labor and during birth. And then I've had clients that wanted nothing to do with being in any version of upright. All they wanted to do was lay on their side the entire labor, and it worked for them. It worked for them. So there's no right or wrong way to labor and give birth. I want you to kind of wash that idea out of your mind right now and just realize you need to listen to your body. And that's why having an unmedicated birth can be so important, because you can take those signals from your body, right? You can hear those signals and you can adjust your body, and you have control over your body to move which way you need to go. I do believe in being upright as much as possible. That does not mean you need to be standing. I also believe in moving as much as possible. Keep your knees soft if you are standing. Sway your hips back and forth when you are on the ball. If you're leaning over the bed on the ball and you have a contraction, rock your hips back and forth. If you can't do it, have your support person rock your hips just a little bit for you or massage them. That movement and stimulation of those muscles makes it a little more bearable and helps your pelvis open and helps your baby move down. So listen to your body. Stay moving if you can. If you cannot, Like I said, having your partner massage. I a lot of times will do the thigh jiggle or the butt jiggle for my clients when they're laying on their side and the baby has kind of moved down deeper into the pelvis and they really feel like they can't move too much. I kind of do that jiggle for them and they find that to kind of help during contractions. A lot of times, I will prepare you that a lot of times as your baby moves down the birth canal, things grow more intense. Typically, in my own experience and what I have witnessed, many mothers, once the baby is so close to being born, so low into the pelvis, into the birth canal, they can't find a position that's comfortable. They get angry because they're like, I'm trying to listen to my body, but everything hurts. Nothing's helping. You might be really close to having your baby if that's the position you're finding yourself in. Hands and knees, I think, is great for kind of being able to rest between contractions. Lunges or side lies with your leg up, whatever kind of thing you do that's asymmetrical, I want you to remember if you do it on one side, do it on the other side. Otherwise, your baby will come down crooked and that will not be good. So if you are standing with your foot up on a chair, that's what we call a lunge. So I'm not talking like the kettlebell lunges where you're walking and going down to like one knee. I'm talking like you stand with your left foot up on a chair or a stool, helping open the pelvis. Well, if you do that for 3 contractions on the left side, you need to do that for 3 contractions on the right side to keep things even. Inversions can be helpful. There's times when inversions can be helpful to move the baby off the pelvis to get the baby into a better position and then bring the baby back into the pelvis. There are times when, oh goodness, there's just so many different labor positions that are so useful in so many different situations. This is a reason why I like to do private consults prenatally for moms who are planning an unmedicated birth because we can't predict everything and it's actually really hard to go over every single situation, every single position. But moms who have labored before and ended with a C-section often tell me that they feel like they didn't move around enough or they feel like they should have done more of XYZ. And so we can kind of take those scenarios of what happened last time and be like, okay, well, how could we do it different if that happens this time? And it kind of removes some of that fear and gives you a solution. It gives you a solution. Also, I don't do this a lot, but like every now and then somebody will want to work with me to be like a virtual doula. And it's not the same, right? Like for me, being a virtual doula, like I'm preparing you and your partner prenatally so that you can be like your own doulas. But sometimes your partner needs a little bit of guidance. So I do occasionally offer virtual doula packages where I'm like on standby to answer any questions that come up if things kind of happen outside of what we prepared for. But prenatally, we go over so many different scenarios of positions and what to do, what position to do for this. Inside VBAC with Confidence, I actually have a little pocket guide that includes VBAC or includes birth positions, labor positions. But something that a lot of people talk about is labor positions and birth positions, and they kind of conflate them to be the same thing. But labor is labor and birth is birth. A lot of times your provider will be totally fine with you laboring in any position you want, sitting over the toilet, XYZ. You could be doing a headstand and they might not really care. They would probably care if you tried to do a headstand. But if you're doing an inversion on the bed safely with support, that might be useful. And they wouldn't care. They might even help you with it. But anyway, I'm like going off on a tangent again. What was I talking? Oh, if they are supportive of you laboring in any position you want, you still need to talk about birth positions because sometimes they're super cool with like, you do you, girlfriend. And then as soon as you get to that pushy stage, they're like, oh, you need to get up in the bed now. I need to be able to see. So that's where things get different. That's where things get tricky. And I'm going to do a whole different episode on actual birthing positions because there are some technicalities to that. I want to go over some scenarios for you. And if you don't want to wait for that episode, I go over all of it in depth inside Be Back with Confidence. So there are resources available to you. If you are ready to take charge of your birth, Mama Bear, and have a confident, positive, peaceful birth after cesarean, I want you to start strengthening your 3 pillars of confidence now: womanly wisdom, self-advocacy, and surrender. When you strengthen those 3 pillars, you will be a force to be reckoned with. And I can help you get started with that inside of Be Back with Confidence. And even if you're not ready to join the class, I have so many resources available for you over at littlebearlactation.com/links. There are blog posts. There are, my social media, I haven't really been active on social media in a while, but if you go back to my old social media posts, like there's a lot of content there. There's so many blog posts available, the podcast, the free Combating Fear During VBAC class. Like there are so many things out there for you. And if you need that personalized one-to-one support, I'm here for you for that too. Until next time, Mama Bear. Wanted to ask how you're feeling about writing your VBAC birth plan. Are you struggling to write your birth plan because you feel like a birth plan is pointless since your last birth didn't go the way you wanted? Maybe you're struggling to know what the right choices even are for you. And harder yet is getting anyone to agree with you and support those choices. I know how frustrating and hopeless that can feel. Dare I even say isolating? It's hard to prepare for your VBAC when you feel like you have to defend every decision you make. But there is a better way. After my 3 VBACs and supporting countless mama bears through their redemption birth, I realized that the secret to creating a VBAC birth plan that you feel confident about lies within the 3 pillars of confidence: womanly wisdom, self-advocacy, and surrender. When you learn how to strengthen each of these pillars, you can unlock the secret to a peaceful birth no matter what unexpected curveballs birth brings. If you are ready to take the first step toward creating a confident birth plan, I am inviting you to join me inside the VBAC with Confidence Complete Birth Prep program, where you will learn how to connect with your inner wise woman to trust your God-given intuition, develop fierce self-advocacy skills, and understand what it means to find freedom through surrender. The best part about VBAC with Confidence Complete Birth Prep program is that you can set the pace. Maybe your husband works crazy hours and it feels impossible to take a class together. That's okay, because you can binge learn together at 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. while eating ice cream in bed without pants on. If you're ready to wash away the fear surrounding your VBAC on your terms and start making decisions from a place of confidence, head over to littlebearlactation.com/VBACwithConfidence247 right now. Don't waste another day letting fear write your birth story.